Hello, people. Welcome to Ade Gman episode 18. I always get this wrong. I don't know why. Maybe because the week's so busy, I forget where we are, but it is 18, right?
I think it's 17 or 18. And
Oh, is it 17?
every week we do is so busy that even me and myself, I'm like, holy crap, this has been a hectic 17, 18 weeks since we started this show.
All right, mate. Honestly, if we were to do, like sort of like artists do their greatest hits. Like if we were to pick some of the best bits from like these last 18 episodes or 17 episodes, I mean, boxing, like there's always something. Like that's one thing we can always say. There's always something. All right, look, before we get into the show, obviously, look, we want to start with some very sad news. Young boxer Georgia O'Connor sadly passed away. I think it was today. Obviously, we're filming this on Thursday night. She I think had an issue of cancer. I'm not quite sure what, but an issue of cancer, and sadly passed away today. Very highly talented amateur. Won Commonwealth Games youth gold medal, I believe, back in 2017. She won another bronze medal, a youth championship as well. So look, very highly thought of. Unbeaten as a pro as well, only 25. So yeah, very, very sad news, G-Man.
That's when I seen it today, I got a bit of a land 25. I've seen her on a couple of boxer shows, and you go on, I followed her on Instagram, and girl full of life.
Yeah.
It's 25, man. It's just my thoughts and prayers to her family, friends and family.
Yeah, indeed. I think she only just recently got married as well. So yeah, look, heartbreaking for everyone. And times like this, the boxing community always come together. So I'm sure there's obviously the big event, Josh Taylor at the weekend. I'm sure they're going to do something for her there and her family. But yeah, very, very sad news. Very sad news. 25, your life's only just starting. So to be cut short like that, it's sad news. All right, let's move on. It's always difficult to transition.
I know, then you feel bad,
laugh and joke and talking about stuff, but let's try and transition as best we can to the fights on the weekend. We are gonna go straight to it. Couple Bosch, Johnny Fischer suffering defeat to Dave Allen, who, by the way, is definitely coming for G-Man. He's taking shots at you, G-Man. What are you gonna do about it, G-Man? What are you gonna do about it?
Well, listen, Dave Allen can take all the shots at me. I just made a video about him weighing in, and I asked the question, did he diet? And he said, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, I'm assuming it's me. And then he admits to not dieting. So I'm not gonna push it any further than that. All I'm gonna say is, I asked, did you diet? You said you didn't. And there you go.
Well, what did he weigh again? Was it 265?
265. I was mistaken when I said it was a career heaviest. It wasn't, right? But it was up there. It was up there. So I will say it was a mistake when I said it was a career heaviest. It's not, but it's still not good to be weighing in. And he even admitted he felt, sluggish in the ring, that weight. So that's what I mean. Like, I want to see, it's nothing personal. I want to see a fighter at their optimum. So if a fighter, no matter what weight they're at, is going into a professional fight, whether they're the underdog or the favorite, I want to see them at their optimum. Even if they give it their all at a certain weight, I want to see them at peak weight. So when I've seen Dave Allen in the 240s, 250s and look really good, as good as he can be to the best of his ability, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a fighter going into a fight leaving a stone unturned, especially if they win, because then they can think, oh, well, I don't need the train. It's not, no. I want to see you give the best of your ability, right? If you think what I'm saying is full of what, all right, that's okay. That's your prerogative. But it doesn't stop me from voicing my opinion. And my opinion was that you probably could have made the fight a bit easier if you'd have been a bit lighter. And I think you know that. But look, he doesn't have to like me. I don't care.
Yeah, I spoke to Dave on Tuesday. He came onto the Ariel and Ade show. And I think Ariel pushed him on, was it your biggest win? He said, no, his biggest win was Lucas Brown, O2 Arena. He felt like that was his biggest win because there was a version of a heavyweight title. I think it was like a regular title or something, one of those belts that Lucas Brown had at the time. I'd love to know what he weighed for that fight. That's quite interesting to see if he was a bit lighter. I pushed him about the weight as well. And he did say he felt like he was a lot stronger at the heavier weight and that he could absorb the shots a bit better as well. I think we've seen a few fighters kind of play the size game. Joseph Parker's playing the size game now. Martin Bakodi's gone past the size game, but a few heavyweights have decided. A few heavyweights have decided that. Game. No, that's not size game. That's Nutty Professor game. But a few heavyweights have decided that, sort of, especially towards the back end of their career, that they could maybe be a bit stronger and absorb the shots from bigger guys if they put on the weight. I disagree, but me and you aren't professional boxers. So maybe, I don't know, Nigel Travis and Jamie Moore have got it down to a T, because ultimately he looked pretty good on Saturday.
No, he did. He did. My question's always been with especially with heavyweights, because if you're a heavyweight, you don't need to stay in shape, even out of camp, because you're not making weight. So I do wonder sometimes, do these heavyweights put on too much weight out of camp? They want to get down to what they perceive as their best weight, but they've done a crash diet, like with Tyson Fury, for example. He did that in the Otto Verleen fight. And I wonder if they're misconstruing them being light with being weak, when it's actually you've just dieted a little bit too hard and probably left too much in the gym. Whereas if you did it gradually, you'd probably actually feel strong at the lightweight, take a good shot, and then you'd have more mobility in the ring. So I wonder, is it a case of maybe certain fighters just, going and losing weight too quick, and then just them thinking, oh, well, I'm weak, so I need to be heavier. Well, maybe it's not that. They always say a pound or 2 to 3 pounds a week is healthy. If you go over that in terms of losing weight, you're going to be drained. So I do wonder about that.
What I find interesting is that the best heavyweight on the planet, someone who's going to go down as one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen, always hits a weight. He treats the heavyweight like a weight class. So he would always come in at 222. That's his thing. Like, I'm not going above that. I'm not going below it. And I almost feel like fighters should look at that. Obviously, look, Alexander Usyk's got skills to pay the bills. But if the best heavyweight on the planet is coming undersized, if you like, for a heavyweight, but continually hits the same weight, I think fighters should look at that and think, okay, 1 second, maybe we are sort of doing it wrong here, when this guy is 222 and right now he's the best heavyweight of this generation. So I feel like maybe they do need to get it right that way.
They absolutely do. Like, Alexander Usyk is so smart, not just in the ring, but in general. Like, he knows, and his team obviously know, right, this is the weight where everything clicks. So stay as close to it as you can out of camp, so you're not having to drain yourself to get down to it. And you are going to be able to do it all. You're going to have the stamina, you're going to have the mobility, everything. And I think, again, people need to have a look at that, because how often have we seen it? Remember Wilder, when he was always in the 2 teens?
Yeah.
That big right hand was going, no, I need to be heavy. All right, well, how did that work? That didn't work out well at all.
Yeah. And what's interesting, we will get to the fight, people, I promise. What's interesting about Usyk as well is that even when the opponent in front of him is near 20 stone in Tyson Fury, his team still don't say, okay, let's play the size game. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got the biggest heavyweight in front of them, and they could easily say, okay, like Wilder, we need to pile on a few more pounds in. No, we're 222. Like, we know what we are. We're 222, and we're going to get the job done. And he got the job done twice. And now he's the unified heavyweight champion of the world, former undisputed. So, yeah, I'm with you. I do feel like Dave Allen needs to know what his best weight is. And once he gets that, we clearly see the skills. The skill set's there. He's got a chin. He can crack a bit as well. So I hope he kind of finds it. But even if he doesn't, I kind of find it funny when you see a guy whose belly hangs over his shorts still knock people out. It's kind of comical, but it works. And I guess that's why he's been labeled the people's champion. What did you make of his performance on Saturday?
I thought his jab was looking very good. You could see early on that jab was straight away. You were like, now Fischer's never been great when it comes to the jab. I mean, we've seen other guys out jabbing, but that jab was good for Dave Allen. Dave Allen looked really good in parts there. Once he smelled blood, he was just...
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, that was a big criticism I had in the first fight. I felt the times in the first fight, Fischer was actually there for Dave Allen, and he backed off. I don't know why, but I felt like at times Fischer made mistakes and Allen could have punished, and he didn't. Or maybe he could have thrown to the head and threw to the body, and he ultimately lost the fight he should have won. Like, he won that fight, but he didn't get the decision. And this time around, there was no games. It was like, right, if I hurt you, sorry, it's nothing personal, because they're obviously friends, but I'm taking you out. And that's what he did. That combination to end it was wicked.
Dude, it was beautiful. Going back to the first fight, I almost feel like he didn't trust his gas tank leading into that first fight. So a case of, okay, I can't sort of go hell for leather here because I've been out the ring for a long time. I'm not sure where I am, because everyone's saying, oh, Dave Allen. Let's be honest, the rhetoric before the first fight was Dave Allen should be retired. Like, people really shooting him down. Yeah, so I wonder mentally, he was like, okay, I don't really want to go for it yet because I'm a bit nervous about where I am and if the gas tank's going to be full. Second time round, full fight camp, he knew the gas tank, regardless of the weight, he knew the gas tank was full. Honestly, he knew it was full. And that finish, and I think you said it correct. I mean, when he has you hurt, good luck. Because finish, I mean, that body head, and he landed a little uppercut as well with Johnny's fishing just for good measure. I thought was just fantastic.
It was just fantastic. I felt for Johnny Fischer because I was thinking like 8 seconds to go. Surely not. Surely it's going to the neck. And Dave Allen was like, nope, straight in. Best combination I ever seen him throw. And like I said, with Dave Allen many times, when it all comes together, you've got a fairly useful fighter. Fairly useful fighter when it all comes together.
Yeah, David Adelaide was ringside, and I kind of looked at David. Obviously, look, fighters are different, right? I was like looking at David, like, you want this? Obviously, he's got Jimmy TKV. I think Adelaide will get past TKV. And all of a sudden, that fight kind of makes sense. And I think it's an interesting fight because you got David Adelaide, who's happy to play the bad guy, happy to play that role. And you got Dave Allen, who's happy to kind of play the people's champ now. So all of a sudden, you got a fight that we never expected, almost a big-ish fight, like a nice, small 7,000-8,000 arena. I think it does it. And I actually like the fight. Again, I feel bad because I'm writing off Jimmy TKV, but I think Adelaide will get the job done. And if he does, we got a good fight in the winter.
I think he probably will get by TKV, same. And man, that fight, because Adelaide, he can punch, but we know Johnny Fischer can punch.
Yeah, and Johnny Fischer, and Dave Allen can take a punch.
And Dave Allen can take a punch. But a bit like Johnny Fischer, I don't know how much David Adelaide has to work with. I mean, we saw how much problems a jab from JBTKV gave him. Same with Johnny Fischer. Same with Johnny Fischer. So I'm looking at that thinking, okay, if that's bothering you, and Jamie TKV's not a puncher, Dave Allen can bang. When he lets those shots go, he's got power there. So I look at that and I think, let's do it. Matchroom Queensbury. Another one.
Yeah, another one could jump on the 5 versus 5. And I was thinking as well that Adelaide is a lot more faster, a lot more sharper than Johnny Fischer. A lot more sharper than Johnny Fischer, who's a bit flat-footed. Before we sort of wax lyrical more about Dave Allen, Johnny Fischer. All right, what do we do? How does this work? Because I've seen a couple of your videos. You've been a bit harsh, G-Man. You've been a bit harsh, but what next for Johnny?
I have been a bit harsh. I think he can come back, but he needs an awful lot of work. I mean, this is not a quick fix. If he wants to carry on pro career and try and get to some level, he's going to need to drop right down the levels. And I think the problem is that it's a hindrance. It's a blessing and a curse. He's such a big ticket seller that promoters will want him on these shows. They'll want him featured high, but you can only beat journeyman after journeyman for so long before the fans are like, oh, come on. And I think this is partially what happened putting him in with Dave Allen so soon. I think he needs to just drop it right down a level, even if you're on the small hall scene, just to build it up from there gradually, because he didn't have much of an amateur background. You can see he's very novice. He needs a lot of work, and he's young enough that he can do that, but away from the cameras, because if you're a big ticket seller, doesn't matter if what the promoter sees, he's going to see, right, I need him on the card. I need him in big fights, or big fights by his standards, and he doesn't need that. I think either misfit or drop it right down, because misfits too.
Wow, misfits?
Yeah.
What do you mean misfits?
I think that he would fit in just fine in misfits.
No. He's better than that. No. Come on, he's better than that. No, he's way better than that. Okay. I mean, he just got beat by Dave. Dave Allen at least is. I mean, Dave Allen could be British champion in 12 months. He got beat by Dave Allen.
Yes, true that.
So I feel like misfits is like just throwing him away like he's 40 and discarded. Look, and let's not forget the first fight was razor close. I think tactically they got it wrong. I think the first fight, watching it back, he was super aggressive. And for some reason, he second guessed himself, and the whole team second guessed themselves. And now he's fighting on the back foot. And I mean, fighting on the front foot's hard enough. But if you have no amateur background, trying to fight on the back foot and counter and throw those big shots, I mean, that takes a lot. And I just feel like they got it wrong.
I think that's why he gassed so bad. Because he didn't throw near as many punches this time around, but he gassed really bad. If you are being the matador and you're not used to that, how are you going to react to that? And he was literally not a big output, but Johnny Fischer looked knackered by the 5th round because again, he's not used to sticking the jab and being like, right, keep this guy off me, keep this. He's used to coming and being like, right, let's go. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah. So that, again, it shows the inexperience. He needs so much work. That's why
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind a Solomon Dakers type fight. I know they've known each other for a while. I believe they were both with the same manager at the same time. But put that aside, I think a Solomon Dakers fight is coming off obviously a stoppage to David Adelaide. I don't think Dakers has fought since then. That's not a bad sort of build-up fight. And then you can kind of, if you want, if we're being very harsh, discard the loser, if you like, right? And then the loser has to completely build up. But I like Johnny. You know what it is? I think I need to separate myself from Johnny, the nice guy, because I've set him with him so many times, to Johnny, the boxer.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm still kind of conflicted because he's a nice guy. But I almost want to see the good guys do well. So hopefully him and sort of Mark Tibbs can get it right and just sort of focus on.
He's with a great trainer in Mark Tibbs.
He's with a guy that doesn't fuck about.
Tibbs.
Yeah, doesn't fuck about Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs will tell him sort of what it is. And he's already an athlete, so they don't necessarily need to work on that. They need to part that. He's a fit guy. I think they need to work on the boxing. And exactly. And then we'll see. All right, moving away from the fights. Let's get some news in here very quickly before we talk about the weekend's fights coming up. Manny Pacquiao has now confirmed that he is back. Manny Pacquiao, 46. We spoke about it last week, but last week there was no confirmation. Manny Pacquiao himself has now confirmed it, that he's going for history. That's the reason he's back. Obviously, the WBC have ranked him number 5. This fight's happening July, I think it's July 19th. Yeah. By the way, it's a bloody good undercard, but July 19th, Manny Pacquiao is back fighting Mario Barrios. Confirmed.
I just can't believe it. Do you know what? I seen clips of Manny Pacquiao in the wildcard gym with Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
And all I could think of was, you look old. You're not that Manny Pacquiao that I watched growing up. You're old, man. Not in terms of years, but in terms of just an athlete. You're old, man. And I don't want to see it. I just wish, I don't know why it's happening. I really don't. And I hope it's not a case of Pacquiao doing this because he absolutely has to. I don't know his rationale, but I just don't want him to get hurt. That's just the real thing. Because I look at Pacquiao and I think, man, Mario Barrios is one of the weaker champions of 147, but he's still a champion. He's still decent. I just don't want to see a fighter that I've watched growing up. As I said, I watched him with De La Hoya and Hatton. I don't want to see him get hurt. And it's just sad that we're in this situation.
Yeah. I too saw those sort of that footage of him at the wild card at the park. And I saw Eddie Sekbak saying silly things like, who has this hand speed at 26? This isn't about hand speed. I mean, most guys could do what he did for 30 seconds, that flurry, right? Yeah. It's, can you do that for several rounds against a live opponent who's young, hungry, and wanting to have your name on his resume, like desperate for your scalp, as were Errol Spence and everyone else that kind of was queuing up before to fight Manny Pacquiao. I'm with you. I don't want to see him get hurt. You know, Manny Pacquiao wasn't a Floyd Mayweather that went through his career without taking punishment. And even Floyd took punishment, but Manny took punishment. Remember that fight against Marquez where I thought he was dead, where he's literally face down. Yeah, everyone forgets that, right? I mean, he's been in some wars for the best part of 25, 30 years. This guy's been in wars. And look, most of the time he's overcome those wars. But 46 is 46. And I think this is very, very dangerous what the WBC and the Nevada State Athletic Commission are doing here. Very dangerous. And look, I pray to God it doesn't backfire on them. But this is very, very dangerous and stupid.
It makes no sense. I mean, I think that, again, as I've said before, you have organizations, you've sanctioned bodies, you've state athletic commissions who will maybe look at a fighter who's cutting too much weight and say, not on my watch, but they'll let a 46-year-old who hasn't fought in 4 years, hasn't won a fight in 6 years, fight at world level. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. I just hope it doesn't end badly.
I wonder, and obviously Mauricio Sulaimán's known Manny Pacquiao for, I'm guessing, 2.5 decades, right? And I just wonder if Manny Pacquiao reached out to Mauricio Sulaimán, almost like, not I need your help, but please give me this fight. And Mauricio Sulaimán, because he's known him as a friend and he calls Manny Pacquiao a friend, he always does, is almost just throwing him a bone here. Not because he wants to, but look, this is like, okay, I'm going to help you. I shouldn't do it. Because I've digged out the Mauricio Sulaimán a lot recently in videos. And I just wonder if Manny Pacquiao has reached out to him as like, you know, the one-on-one private call. This is my situation right now. Can you help me out? Give me this fight, please. And because they've known each other for so long, Mauricio Sulaimán has begrudgingly said, oh, okay, I'll help you out.
Yes, I think something like that could have happened, but surely Sulaimán could have maybe offered some alternatives. Like, okay, look, this is what you want, but could we not make the WBC exhibition title? And, you know, you defend it in an exhibition bout, you know, against whoever, you know, make it a tricky title.
Against Floyd.
Exactly. Yeah,
against Floyd. We can have that exhibition fight with Floyd. You know, it won't make you this amount of money, but you're still going to get good money because there's an intrigue and interest into it. I agree. Maybe that you do that for 8 2-minute rounds or something.
Exactly that. And I'm wondering, was that maybe an option, or is it just the case of no, it's gone that far now that I need the full fight on the full undercard? Listen, I don't know. It's just seeing it official now. It's just it hit home, and I was like, man, I used to love any Manny Pacquiao fight. I used to be like, yes, this is the first time. I'm like, no, please, no, God, no.
Yeah,
No.
you know the problem with it, and this is the biggest problem with it. We're all gonna watch it.
I know we will,
and they know that as well. So they're like, okay, we're gonna take a lot of heat, but trust me, it doesn't matter, Manny, because the numbers are gonna be okay. The pay-per-view numbers are gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be a sold-out venue. Like you're gonna make your money, and we're all gonna make our fees and our percentages. So everyone's gonna watch it, so it's okay. And that's the issue, right? I mean, the way in which these fights don't happen is if we decide not to watch, and they're like, okay, that sucked last time. We can't put anything like that on again. They might continue to do this because ultimately it all comes down to that. And this fight will generate a lot of money.
As much as we hated Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, that did insane viewers on Netflix.
Yeah, there you go.
Great example. That thinking, let's go again. Let's do something like that again. We don't want to see it, but we all watched it. I'm not gonna lie, I stayed up to watch it. And
of course. And how old was Mike? Mike was in a wheelchair 6 months earlier. Remember, the fight got delayed. So Mike was in it, and people still watched it. Literally, it broke every record known to mankind. And if that fight was on traditional pay-per-view, it could have broken all the records.
Oh yeah.
So we're almost hypocrites by going crazy at it. But ultimately, I'll watch it. I'll do videos on it. I might even do a live on it. Do you know what I mean? So I almost find myself contradicting everything I'm saying here. But I guess it's up to them. If they don't put it on, I wouldn't watch it. So it's their fault, not mine.
And even if someone says, well, I'm not going to buy the pay-per-view, but I'll watch it by other means, it's like, you're still watching it. You're still like, it'd be better to just leave it, but we won't. And it's like me, I will watch it. I'll do videos on it. I'll do previews of it. But I wish, and it is hypocritical, but I wish it just wasn't happening. And I just pray.
Imagine Manny Pacquiao chins him.
Oh, don't. Could you? Oh,
dude. I mean, I don't believe the rhetoric that the last thing to go is your power, because ultimately I've seen a lot of fighters who seem to have lost their power. But if Manny Pacquiao were to chin Barrios, Jesus Christ. I'm telling you now, this is what's going to happen. Floyd Mayweather is going to get a comeback call. I'm telling you now, if Manny Pacquiao chins Barrios, Floyd Mayweather is going to get the call, and we could be looking at the most unexpected, biggest fight in the history of the sport. That's how crazy boxing is.
Do you know what? Right?
I just thought about it. It could happen.
I can see that happening, especially if Manny looks really bad, but just pulls a punch out. Like
just pulls the punch.
Yeah, exactly. Then Floyd would be like, right, I might not be at my prime. He's certainly not. Let's do it. And
let's
Floyd was WBC all the way. He was
and the money invested in that fight. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, let's talk about more realistic things. There have been strange goings on with regards to TKO and this massive Canelo Crawford fight. Just to bring everyone up to speed. Now, the fight was, I thought, scheduled and done for September 12th, the Raiders Stadium in Vegas, TKO promotion on Netflix, although that wasn't released. Rumors are circulating it'll be on Netflix. All of a sudden, no TKO, no Netflix, possibly no Raiders Stadium, and the date has now been moved to September 13th, which is the Saturday, not the 12th, which was the Friday, obviously. What do you think's going on here? Because I'm trying to fill in all the gaps and the blanks here, but I still can't come up with the correct sentence.
Well, originally I thought it was an issue with both fighters, but then I'm thinking, no, they're still going, like they're still persevering with the fight and everything. So I'm thinking, like, it's not an issue with the fight. I really, truly don't know, because it's not that long that Turkey and Dana and all announced this deal that they'd be working together in March. It's only May, so it's like, surely, like, it kind of all gone in 2 months. I'm stumped. I don't know what to say. I really don't. As long as we get the fight, I really don't care. But
Same.
I am still confused as to how it's like we went from Turkey and Dana to now just Turkey, and this fight's going to be on whatever network. It's like, what the hell has gone on there?
Yeah, I think he said something on Twitter about announcing the network soon. So I can only guess it's going to be the Zone, Ring Magazine. I can't I can't think of who else it's going to be. But it does surprise me, because this was supposed to be the big unveiling, right? I mean, this is the big one. TKO, Netflix, massive numbers, big stadium fight. There's a lot of talk about having sort of a WrestleMania feel to it because of the links with Nick Khan and TKO. So And obviously the way UFC do events as well, it's all sort of all the bells and whistles. And now, nothing. My only fear is kind of what you said. I hope this doesn't somehow affect the fight. Like, there's been whispers about, I think I saw Eddie talking about Canelo's sort of hunger and motivation. I hope that the fight's still on. Because if not, then I don't know what Crawford does. Canelo's okay. I don't know what Crawford does.
Yeah, Canelo is in a privileged position. He can decide what he wants to do. He's still got loads. But Crawford has said this is the only fight keeping him in boxing. And I was thinking, right, they had the face-to-face in the ring, and a couple of weeks later, like a fortnight later, this happened. I was like, surely one of them's not having issues or getting cold feet. It can't be, because we've still got loads of time. But that's the biggest worry. But the fact that Turkey is still persevering with it and talking about dates, it kind of leads me to believe that, okay, the fight is probably okay. But that's still in the back of your mind, because when all this stuff happens, you're kind of like, oh, when's the pullout coming?
Yeah, and look, honestly, I'd be sick to my stomach because I've kind of got behind the idea now of Crawford jumping up a couple of weight classes, a fight to determine who is the fighter of the generation, whatever you might want to label it as. But I did say this to you, I think, a couple of weeks ago, that they did the face-off in the ring and there was no buzz. Like, normally everyone's going crazy, maybe because we knew it was coming. But that was the first time that we had seen them sort of nose to nose. And it kind of went quiet, and only maybe because of what happened at Times Square and what happened Canelo's skull. But it didn't have this kind of like, okay, this is, oh my God, it's happening. Didn't have that feel to it.
It did for me. It did for me. I watched it and I had goosebumps. But yeah, I suspect the fact that, well, yeah, we all seen Canelo skull for our sins, and I think that dampened the crowd a lot. I think that any kind of atmosphere and any kind of hype was kind of like, what did we just watch for the last 12 rounds?
Yeah,
that was probably what happened. But even still, when I seen them face to face, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm happy.
Okay,
that's what.
Okay, good. Again, look, we'll give you stuff when we know stuff. Right now, again, no one really knows what's going on. But I'm like, G-Man, fingers crossed that the fight still happens. That's all I care about. I'm not one of those people that care. Even though I work for DAZN, so I'd be involved, I think. I don't care. I just want to see the fight happen. That's my first and foremost. That's the boxing fan in me coming out. So fingers crossed it happens. One fight that Turkey wants to do as well is Teofimo Lopez jumping up to 147 to take on Boots Ennis. He called through to the press conference. Wade answered the call, very similar to like I did with Ben Eubank.
I remember that.
And he literally wants to make that fight. Turkey likes Teofimo a lot. Obviously, of all the fighters that delivered, if you like, from the Times Square card, he's the only one that delivered on his promise. And if you're Teofimo, there's no one really at 140. Maybe the winner of Hitchens, Kambosos, right? I mean, maybe you do that, but there's no one really at 140. And if you're Boots, there's no one really at 147. So why not?
Exactly. There's a lot of dangerous guys at 140, like Matthias, who don't really bring anything. But at 147, exactly, Boots is stuck in that kind of, what's going on? Who am I going to fight?
Yeah.
I would love to see it. If the Boots Ennis who turned up in his last fight turns up against Stanionis, man, I don't, as good as Teofimo Lopez looked against Barbosa, I don't think he's got much of a chance against Ennis. However, if the Boots Ennis who turned up against Karen Shukar-Medov, I think his name is, or something like that, if he turns up, we've got a fight in our hands and we get the takeover, because that's one of the things we've said about Teo. How often have we seen the takeover over the last few years? If the takeover turns up against Boots and the Boots turns up, we're looking at we are looking at some fight.
Yeah, I mean, if the takeover turns up, then let's be honest. I mean, he's got a very good chance, and I think Boots needs this. Boots doesn't really talk. Yeah, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, you might need a cage for those two. Boots doesn't really talk. He needs someone to antagonize him. In order for Boots to feel like he's in a really big fight, Teo's happy to play that role now. Teo's turned into this new character where he plays this role. Sometimes I personally think he steps over the line with some of his racial innuendos, racial slurs. But as a fighter, love him. Honestly, love him so much. My worry for Teo is the Boots that turned up against Stanionis had no rehydration cap with the IBF. That motherfucker came into the ring the size of a bloody light heavyweight. And Teo's not a big 140 guy, obviously having campaigned at 135. I just think he's too big for Teo personally. But I'm all for it. I'm all for these fun fights.
I think he's too big for Teo. And Teofimo Lopez at 135, big puncher. He's got one stoppage win at 140. Everyone else is going the distance, and not many of them are getting hurt. In fact, actually, Teofimo Lopez is the only one who's noticeably getting buzzed in these fights. Man, Boots Ennis, if he doesn't feel any power, he is going to walk you down, and he is the biggest puncher at 147. I mean, that's what I'm afraid of. If the Boots, the fully hydrated Boots, it doesn't matter if it's the takeover. Man, the takeover is getting conquered.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good fight as well. MSG, certainly. I mean, 100% has to happen at MSG.
Yeah.
Like, we need a big one to go back there. Obviously, we've got Taylor Serrano free. It'd be nice to have this now. Sort of everyone go back to MSG once there are big fights, and I feel like this has to go MSG. I think it sells out immediately. Savannah Marshall, we know a couple of weeks ago signed with MVP Promotions. Obviously, they're literally hoovering up every single. Like, if you're a female boxer and you haven't got the call, you must be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like, everyone else is going over there. Yeah, you'd be panicking. Like, 1 second, everyone's over there. Like, what am I doing with you? But she's gonna fight Shadisha Green. I'm so happy to see Savannah back. I think she's fantastic. And obviously, look, the fight we want is her versus Clarissa again. I know Clarissa always seems to shit on that fight, but ultimately, it's the biggest fight out there for Clarissa.
Do you know what I want to say about that first fight, right? I maintain that Savannah Marshall, look, Clarissa won a fair and square. She's the better girl on the night. But Savannah Marshall, a big girl for 168 pounds. And do you remember that fight was pulled at the 11th hour and rescheduled because obviously Queen Elizabeth died? She had to go through all that again. That had to take something out of her. So I think if it's no cancellation, no stopgap, then we're in for a really entertaining fight between those two. In terms of Savannah Marshall, I love watching her. She's my second favorite female to watch after Gabby Fondora. And the fact she's now, and this undercard looks stacked. Man, this undercard looks legit. Like, thank God it's on a Friday and it's not going up against the ring show on the Saturday. But Taylor Serrano is top 3, rightly so. The rest of the undercard is like, oh man, take your pick. Take your pick.
No, honestly, they've done really well. When I heard it's an all-female fight card, I'm like, what are they doing? You don't need to do that, because ultimately Taylor Serrano is big. Let's just get as many big fights as we possibly can on the undercard. All of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
that's good. These fights are good. And the thing about Savannah, I know why you like her and Gabby, because they knock people out.
Exactly.
These ladies don't go to points. Like, Savannah knocks you out, and so does Gabby. And that's why I like the fight with Clarissa, because Clarissa knows that she holds that threat. When Clarissa's fighting these other girls who unfortunately can't punch through a wet paper bag, Clarissa knows she can walk them down. Clarissa can't walk Savannah down. Clarissa outboxes her and she outskills her, but she knows there's a threat there. And we know it. So we're on the edge of our seat until the very last second, because you think, oh, Savannah can land one. So I want to see it, but Shadisha Green's tough. It's a good fight, and then let's see what she can do.
She is, and Savannah Marshall is one of the only females I've seen her actually lay someone out cold, like out cold. You very seldom see that. Even Gabby Fondora doesn't really do that. I'm delighted that a lot of these are getting the exposure, because they're getting Netflix. How many boxers would they'd fight one-handed if they thought, I'm going out live to the world on Netflix? They would. They absolutely would.
And you know Jake Paul's going to push it as much as he can as well. Like, he's really going to ramp it up. Sort of 2 weeks out, he's going to ramp this the hell out. Like, he's just going to go crazy on social media. So look, credit to all of them. Credit to MVP, Jake Paul, Nikisa doing a great job. Obviously, Jake Paul's got Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Coming up as well. All right, just going to bring up the schedule here. Dillian White back on the undercard. I've seen you've put a video out. Go and check out G-Man's video on Dillian White. G-Man always doesn't hold back the punches. Let's just say that. Dillian White back on the Portman Road card. It's so weird. He's on the undercard if he's protege, if you like, which is kind of strange, isn't it? It's a kind of a weird narrative. In Hollywood movies, Dillian White would end up fighting Fabio. You know the way Hollywood movies work out, where there's a bit of jealousy there, but those two are great. I don't know. I haven't seen the name of the opponent yet, so I'm not quite sure who he's fighting, but Dillian White wants to crack at a world title.
I've heard rumors. It's a guy from New Zealand called, I think it's a Hemi Hawaii or something like that. I seen this guy fight on Joe Parker versus Junior Fa a couple of years ago. He did not look good at all. He was actually dropped in that fight. He won it, but he was dropped in it. If it's that guy, he shouldn't cause Dillian White issues, but Ebenezer Tete shouldn't have caused White issues. He did. You mentioned world title. I mentioned, are you mad? Because, as I said, I can't get that Ebenezer Tete fight out of my head.
Yeah.
I think that Dillian White is right near the end. And I think genuinely you need to be careful who you match him with. Because I knew that Dillian White, in 2024 when he fought Christian Hammer wouldn't be good, because it was a short notice gig for both guys. We'll discard that. But he had plenty of notice for Tete. Tete's not that good. We saw what Fraser Clark did. And he just looks so slow, so ponderous. And even the punching power wasn't there. That has me thinking, mate, what do we do? Like, you're wanting to fight, like someone like a Moses Itauma who wants to fight for world title as well. Could you imagine? Even like guys like, you know, Dave Allen at this point. I know Dillian White beat him, but like, if Dillian White got hit with that same combo, he's not going to be able to take that, and he's not going to be as light on his feet as a Johnny Fischer. So, man, I'm looking at Dave Allen Dillian White thinking, man, world title, you're going to be lucky to get past some of these domestic level guys.
Yeah, look, I'm a sort of big fan of Dillian White, but you're right. You can only go off recent performances, and his last two performances have been Christian Hammer and Ebenezer Tete. And if we're going off those performances, then it's clearly not there at any level at the moment. They need to be careful with Dillian White in terms of who they match him with. It's a shame we didn't get the Joe Joyce fight, because that would have answered a lot of questions, right? I mean, that would have told us where exactly he is. It's like the way we know where Joe is now, and we know where Filip Hrgovic is because of those fights. If I'm Dillian, I have this fight against this guy, and, you know, hopefully get rid of him, and then I use my name to get one of the big fights against someone who's waiting for an opponent. Like, exactly. I always think of Parker as a great example. Like, I think Parker should be in the undercard of Usyk Dubois. And if you're Parker and they can't get you anyone, say, oh, fuck it, give me Dillian White. And Dillian White would warrant the fight because of his name, not because of what he's done. Don't get me wrong, I'm with you, but because of who he is, he'll get the fight, and then it's a last big payday, a last swan song, whatever.
And the history between the two. Oh, I beat you already. I beat you already. So let's go again.
There you go.
And
there you go.
I think the only logical thing I can say about world title is if Alexander Usyk beats Daniel Dubois, I think he'll vacate that WBO belt and Joe Parker will get elevated. Then if you do it, it is technically for a world title, whether he deserves it or not. That's the only way he can get a world title fight, I think. But yeah, I would be saying put him in with Joe Parker, because I think we'd all make Joe Parker favorite, but it's sellable. There's history there. There's all that. So, and it's a big fight. It makes a big
Dillian White must just, like, he's had like 3 years of just regrets. Honestly, remember, he was supposed to fight AJ. Like, it's just like he's missed out on all this Riyadh season fights. He's a name. He would have been in the mix with some of the big boys. And I think he's 38 now or something, 37, 38. Yeah. He's had some punishing fights, the Chisora ones, Povetkin, you know, so AJ even early in his career. So this is obviously the last dance, and he's now trying to make the best of it. So look, I wish him the best. It's going to be tough. If he looks bad at Portman Road, which is only in 2.5, 3 weeks, and then I think it'll be difficult to even dare talk about a Joseph Parker fight. If he looks good and knocks someone out, then I mean, who knows? But I'm with you. A world title shot just seems crazy. Like, even hearing it seems a bit crazy.
When's the last time he did look good? Years ago.
It's a long time, isn't it? It's a long. When was that? When was the loss?
Povetkin rematch. And Povetkin retired.
Jesus, in Gibraltar. When was that?
Yeah. 21. 4 years ago.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Because you're right. He didn't look good against Jermaine Franklin.
No.
Even though I think Jermaine Franklin's actually a lot better than people think. I think Jermaine Franklin. I really think he should be in this mix over here. So if I'm Jermaine Franklin, I don't know what's going on. He should be signed to someone over here and be in fights. He's got a name. Like, he's just wasting his time in America doing nothing. Yeah, really, really good. It's a long time.
It is.
Jesus Christ,
man. And again,
you know
that was who was done.
Yeah, it was on the drugs though, but done.
Oh, yeah.
You know who else who's desperately in need of a performance and a win? Josh Taylor.
Oh, he is in serious need of a performance and a win. And you know what? He's in there against Echo Usman, who he will make you work every minute of every round for that performance as well. Yeah, so he is. This ain't a gimme for Josh Taylor. New weight, all that good stuff. But Echo Usman is tough, man. He is a good fighter. So Josh Taylor better not be thinking he's got it easy. He doesn't.
No. I think I spoke to Josh today for TalkSport, and I think he's fully aware of what's in front of him. Obviously, look, his team picked Echo. And it's always, when you pick someone, you've obviously watched the tape, you can see the mistakes he makes. But a bit like Dillian, well, obviously completely different scenarios here, but you have to go back to 2021 for Josh's last real clean standout performance, and that was against Ramirez. Since then,
it was this day, 2021.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at
This
that!
day,
Since then, it's been
2021.
what I think 3 defeats in a row. I think the
Yeah, yeah,
record books will say 2, but it's been 3.
it
So
has been true.
yeah,
One thing I will say is that although he was at the wrong weight in the Jack Catterall rematch, he didn't look bad. I didn't think he
agreed,
won, but he didn't look
agreed.
bad. He
Mm,
didn't look bad. So adding the extra 7 pounds on, it does give me a little bit of hope that okay, we have something with Josh Taylor here. He
yeah,
was at the wrong weight, probably by about 3 years against Jack Catterall in the rematch, but he looked good enough to make me think at 147, you should be okay.
yeah. I still don't think, and sometimes it takes a few years for it to happen, but I still don't think Josh gets the respect he deserves for his career. And I think
No, he
that's
doesn't.
all boiled down to the judges getting it wrong against Jack Catterall. Because Josh's career, I mean, Josh, he became undisputed. And
Yeah.
he collected those belts like in every fight. It wasn't like he fought one person and got all the gold.
Mhm.
He had to go and
Exactly.
fight unbeaten fighters to become undisputed. He was going to fight Terence Crawford. That was legitimately going to happen, or legitimately going to happen. There was talks about it. I feel like people shit on Josh too much. Josh was and might still be an incredible fighter.
Josh Taylor, right, to put it in context, Terence Crawford was undisputed at 140, as was Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor had a way harder job with those
Mm,
fighters than Terence Crawford did. And we know we
yeah.
love Terence Crawford, he's brilliant. But Terence Crawford had Julius Ndongo and Felix Diaz. Josh
Mm,
Taylor had prime Regis Prograis, prime
yeah.
Jose Ramirez, prime
Yeah.
Ivan Branchek. There's a
Yeah.
big difference there, man. There's a huge difference.
No, you're right. Like prime Ramirez. You're right.
Prime
Prime
Ramirez.
Prograis. Prime Prograis. You know what I mean? Like, come
Yeah.
on. Like, this is so that's why I feel like he deserves so much credit. And Ramirez, I remember that Ramirez fight like it was yesterday. He kind of dropped Ramirez off the back foot. Like a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful uppercut to drop Ramirez. I was like, geez, we've got something here.
Yeah,
And since then, it's not been great. But like, I'm a
unfortunately.
fan of both. I know Eka Usman's level, sort
Mhm.
of fringe European level. I know where Josh has been to, obviously right at the top of the mountain. So if Josh has still got anything left, he should be Eka Usman. But Echo is a problem. Echo will literally come and come and come and come until Josh can dent him. So this could be a long 12 rounds for Josh.
It could be a long 12 rounds for Josh. It's a homecoming though. You got to remember that. So I think that will add to Josh Taylor as well. I'm expecting him to win a tough fight. He might even get the
Yeah.
stoppage, but he will know he's been in a fight. And I think that
Yeah.
we may by the end of this fight on Saturday night be saying we've got a live contender now at 147 in Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
Which I think
Yeah.
we may very well.
Yeah, and he'll look at the 147 division and think this is the weakest it's ever been. Again,
Oh yeah.
removing Boots Ennis, it's almost laughable how bad this division. It's actually quite terrible. It's actually quite terrible
so bad,
how bad it is. Honestly, when you've got like the champion at 147 who was beaten by Javante coming up to 140, it says quite a lot about
Yeah.
how bad.
Oh,
Let's not
man.
forget that,
Oh,
right?
right.
So yeah. All right, let's end on Moses Itauma. The
Yes.
future of not just heavyweight division, but maybe future of boxing, right? He
Oh, I
takes
think
on
so.
Mike Balogun. You know what? I don't know if you were watching TalkSport today, but I said to Moses, and honestly, my head's sort of going round in circles here. So Moses was talking to me, Simon Jordan, and Jim White, and he said the reason it's taken so long for this fight to happen, like because everyone's saying where you beat Dempsey McKean, why hadn't you fought next week, whatever. He says they were offered, like something was in the works, and then it didn't happen, and that's why he now had to fight Mike Balogun. I genuinely believe that they were trying to get the world title fight for him to be the youngest heavyweight champion before
No,
before
really?
now. What could have been in the works? What's he talking about? They were trying to get something done. Whether it be, I think maybe they were trying to get Usyk to vacate a belt, maybe.
I know Frank was definitely
Because
pushing for
Moses
that.
is number 2 ranked in the WBO, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were trying to get him a world title crack.
Oh man, because that was his thing. He wanted that record. It's not going to happen now, but
Yeah.
God, could you imagine? And he is so talented as well that I wouldn't have put it past him. Maybe not against Usyk, but there was maybe you get the right champ or you him and Parker. Who knows what might have happened? I think we are going to see a statement performance this weekend. I know he's not in there. I know some people say it's maybe a drop down from Dempsey McKean, but we are dealing with one of the most prolific talents I've seen in years. This kid's 20. and it's insane.
I'm talking to him like I'm old enough to be his dad by some distance. You know what I mean? Like you know, in some crazy countries, I'm old enough to be his granddad. But I look at him like a monster. Like I look at him, and I've obviously known of him. And I think the first time I saw him eye to eye was maybe about 3 years ago. I remember thinking, yeah, you're not big enough for heavyweight. I look at him now, and I swear to God, he's grown 2 inches and put on 15 pounds of muscle. And now all of a sudden, he is ready. Like he's ready to go. And they're almost fucking having to hold him back. Like, you know, like you got a pickle on the leash and he's trying to like, whoa, I'll just fucking let him go and bite someone. He's ready to go.
Oh, he is. And I remember the first time I met him was 2 years ago. I interviewed him. And even then I was like, God damn, you're big for it. And he was 18 at the time. I was like, you are not a typical 18-year-old. Like, what the hell are they feeding you? It's like, this ain't normal. He is not your typical
He's not just,
18-year-old.
he's quite, it's not just like he's tall, because you get some big guys, right? I mean, you're going to see, but there's something, he just looks like a man.
Oh, God.
Like, he looks like a man. He genuinely is like a, obviously, look, I'm not, before everyone jumps in, I'm not saying he's Mike Tyson. But you know when Mike was coming through, and Mike was 20, but looked like, he looked intimidating. I feel like Moses looks intimidating for a 20-year-old.
He absolutely does. I mean, that's the kind of guy where if you were, say, 30 years old, thinking yourself a hard man, and he stared at you, you'd be like, sorry, mate. I'm all right. No, sorry. I'm all right. How old is he? 20. Don't care if he's 20. I'm not going near him. That's Moses. Crazy, and he has, but it's the ability he has, the power, the footwork, the speed. When he lets those hands go, it's like, mate, honestly, that's like up there with Andy Ruiz level hand speed.
Okay, can I play a game with you?
Okay,
I want to play a game with you. I work on the broadcast, so I can't play this game. I don't want to get in trouble. But I'm going to name some heavyweights, and you tell me if you think Moses beats them right now.
Okay.
Can we do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right, let's do it. All right, Derek Chisora.
Yes.
Fabio Wardley. You don't have to give a resounding or knockout. Just a yes or no is fine. Don't get yourself in trouble here, son.
Okay. Yes. No, yeah. I think Itauma, I can give my reasons.
Go on, quickly.
Hand speed, the punch of power, technique, everything. And he will, not only will he match the aggression of Fabio Wardley, I think the speed will be something Wardley's never seen, the power. They are gym mates, so maybe he has seen it. But yeah, I think he beat him.
Okay, AJ.
Can we still be mates after this? Yeah.
I think he beats my boy AJ.
Yeah. I think he'll put AJ in his shell.
Because he beat Dempsey McKean, you all of a sudden think he can beat AJ.
I genuinely think, right, if him and AJ fought, the hand speed of Itauma would bother AJ so much that he'd be standoffish, and that he would then make a mistake and get caught with that left hand. And I think he would. I genuinely, still mates.
Okay. No, we'll see. Yeah, it's not that serious. Moses is Nigerian as well. I'll take him on board. He can be part of my Nigerian revolution. Okay, Daniel Dubois.
All right, that one, no. But Shane McGuigan, when he trained Dubois, was very, very high on Moses Itauma. But I'm going to say Dubois right now probably does nick it. Yeah.
All right, last one. Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So you're telling me right now you think Itauma could be the third best heavyweight in the world?
Potentially. Well, I don't think he'd beat Caballero.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't think he'd beat Caballero right now. I think that would be a bit. I think Caballero with the body and the slickness, I don't think he'd beat him right now. That's not to say I wouldn't do it in a year, but you're not beating Usyk, not beating Caballero.
Okay. You know what I feel like it's going to be a future showdown? Now you said this, and some people might think I'm going to say Dubois. I honestly think the future undisputed heavyweight showdown is going to be between Moses Itauma and Jai Pataya.
Oh,
I think Jai comes up. Christ. I think Jai comes up in 12 months, and then we build to that super fight. And I think that's going to be the super fight of all super fights. And the reason I give Jai a good shot in it, because it won't be Land of the Giants like what Usyk had to do, right? I mean, Jai is 6'1", Moses is 6'3". Do you know what I mean? Moses is 230. Jai will sort of get up to 220. I think that's the super fight that will happen in about 2 years. They're both like good age, great fight, good speed, punch power, aggression.
I was going to say, like,
parental guidance.
Yeah, both guys are mean. You wouldn't want to pick a fight with either one of them because both guys are flipping mean.
Dude.
Dude.
Yikes, can you imagine you would like I would decline doing the face off. I'd say no, not doing it. Not doing it. Like give me Ward or Dev Sani. Not doing
get
it.
the tissues and the towels at the ready, wipe the sweat off.
Crazy, right? It could be crazy. All right, guys, there you go. Bit of fun that was. I enjoyed that. That's probably the best one we've done. I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you, as always, to everyone. Make sure you subscribe to G-Man's channel. I mean, the aim is 30,000 subscribers for the end of the year. So come and help him out. Great content. He's doing loads of videos. Always good stuff. Always controversial. Good debates. I'm seeing debates between your comment section. People having debates in your comment section, which is very interesting. Yes, you do mean to be controversial. No, yes, you do mean to be controversial. Go and check out G-Man's videos 5 years ago. He was never like this. He's changed. You know, his poisoned him. Hatman's done this to him. Hatman has done this to him. All right, G-Man, as always, brother, thank you very, very much. We'll see you guys next week on the latest episode of Ade and G-Man. Peace.